we're even going over to sell quickly and a phone number. Our, there's a bunch of them we've tried, but cash for your house and the phone number. Make it as big as you can on the sign, and that's been effective.
Yep.
So, Craigslist, Todd, I'll let you talk about that because I'm not actually doing anything with Craigslist.
Yeah, you could just, when you go on Craigslist, you're looking for you're not looking for property management companies. You're not looking for companies like, what you're looking for is that tired landlord that might have 1 to 5 houses, something like that, and he's looking to sell his house. Sometimes you might get a flipper on there that is just cannot finish the project, and he's looking to sell. And a lot of times if I'm calling off Craigslist, I do not call them and say, hey, I see your house on Craigslist. You know, what are you going to talk about? All the information's on Craigslist. So call the guy or gal and say, hey, how you doing? I would say, my name's Todd. I'm an investor. I got your name and number. I don't know if you called my office, or I really don't know, but someone in my office gave it to me earlier today, and I was just reaching out. They told me you might have a property or 2 properties for sale. Just reaching out and see if one of your properties is still available. And they're going to say yes, of course, and then say, oh, terrific. Well, let me ask you a few questions if I may, and I'll see what I could do. And then I go into I already know the answers because it's on Craigslist. Like, the property there, is it vacant? Is it occupied? And they tell you, you talk about that for a second. How many bedrooms? How many baths? Is there anything major, any major repairs that I'm going to need to do right away? Anything wrong with the house? And they talk to you about that, all that good stuff. And then you ask them the good question, what are you looking to get for the house? And then you be quiet, let them answer. And it says it on Craigslist. So on Craigslist, if it says $30,000 and then he says 25, that's great. You know, he's pretty motivated. And then a lot of times, sometimes I might, if someone says 25,000, then what you could do is say, you could just pause, don't say anything, and say, whew, man, do you think you could do any better than that? You know, see what he says. And then you can always ask him the question and say, if I'm able to give you a large down payment and then pay you monthly, would you entertain something like that? If they say yes, then I'm going to make that appointment to go see that house. That way, these guys are if I could get a house on terms, I might pay a little more than normal. So that's how I kind of handle those Craigslist leads.
So like Valerie was asking earlier, she's looking to do student housing in Yipsy. So a really good way for a brand new investor like yourself to find that would be to go on the networking meetings and talk to people like Todd, or find out the wholesalers in that area and give them your order. So, because they're going to look to find you the deal that's going to get you the return on the investment that you want. So that's an excellent way to put deals together.
Then I would check out a bunch of student housing in the area you want to be in and really see how they operate and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could go work for them for a little bit for free or something, just so you
make sure
it's a specialized, you know.
It's niched.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So networking, if you want to get a good example of that this Thursday, we're going to actually have a networking meeting. It's going to be where people are coming on and sharing their deals. Taylor's coming on. Todd's going to be running that meeting.
And driving for dollars is a great way, you know, just driving around neighborhoods, looking for houses that haven't been fixed up in the last 30 years, vacant homes. Right now, a lot of people are preaching that you should go after vacant properties because of the COVID. It's easier to show your investors the houses, and they're sitting there, and the owners want to get rid of them. It's kind of true, or, going after or looking for landlords, because the tenants might not be paying rent and things like that. So this is a good time. But driving for dollars is a great way. You go by, you can even drop off a card, you can knock on the door, you can just get their phone number, get their name and phone number, number one, and pick up the phone and call them and see if they're, if they would consider an offer.
So Todd, there's new investors on with us. What is driving for dollars?
All right. So yeah,
how do I spot those houses?
Yeah, just drive a neighborhood and you look for houses that just are looking poor condition. In the right now, I guess if it snows is a good day that you could go. When it snows, you could go through a neighborhood and see which houses don't have the car tracks, things like that. Don't shovel the snow, things like that. They might be vacant. You might see some bad roofs, just some eyesores of the properties, and that's that's what driving for dollars, looking for bad houses.
If you go to my YouTube channel, Mark Maupin, or do National Real Estate Network YouTube, it's a channel there. Last week, it'll be the first videos that are on the channel. I think it's part 1. Fred talks about how to do driving for dollars and talks about an app you can use. And it's a really good conversation about it on there. Some of the ways that if you're brand new and getting started, we talked about the yard and bandit signs. Some places where those bandit signs aren't allowed, you can actually get your bandit sign up by going into stations and putting them on the poles in the service stations, facing the pumps or liquor stores or dollar stores on their parking lots, and generate leads. That's some of the ways that we do that. I have I'm going to say I heard that people will go out on a Friday late and put signs up right by the street, and then they go back late Sunday night and take them in because there's no ordinance people. So I think
Mark,
effective. Yes.
Where do you typically put the signs? I mean, obviously, how do you know? I mean, is just pick an area that you're interested in, or is there a certain area?
Yeah. So like if there's an area where you want to buy and you don't see other bandit signs, then you're going to have to get creative on how you get it done. So, like if there's party stores in the area, you can, if that's a targeted market for you, you can go in and talk to the owner and work out a number that texts him the lead where he can actually get a voice of the lead that comes in. You can work out splits with them if you're a wholesaler. You can, there's all kinds of ways to monitor. You can go into service stations, like I said, in the area that you're talking about. You can take a group of people and put flyers out for about, I could put 2,000 flyers out in 5 hours if I have enough students, and I'm making sure they're not putting them on the mailbox, but in the doors that say you buy houses for cash. There's a lot of ways to work the areas. If you talk to the wholesalers in the area you want to be, you can almost give an order, then they're going to work those markets, So does that help?
Yeah, definitely.
And like Fred was even sharing that, it'll give you, with the app, it'll actually give you the person's name and phone number. So he'll actually text the person because the text will get read quicker than a lot of times they'll answer.
So and a lot of times, like a lot of these, like probate, bondsman, mailman.
Yeah.
You setting up some sort of, hey, if you give me a lead, I'll give you, or if you get something that goes through, I'll give you $100 or $500. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real estate agent cannot pay a referral fee but if you're not a real estate agent, you certainly can. So,
Gotcha.
bondsmen or people who are going to jail, the bondsman knows who's in jail and he knows who's in trouble. And if you got a landlord in jail, he's in trouble and he's got a lot of opportunity. The mailman absolutely knows everything that goes on. He knows by the people's mail if they're in trouble. He knows if they're in foreclosure. He knows if they're being chased. He can tell you everything about it. So if you have a relationship with a mail carrier, you've got access to a whole area.
And garbage men too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can talk trash with Todd.
I tell you this, Mark, look at this. See this? Can you guys see that?
PC sells cheap.
Yep, CC sells cheap houses. There's
Yeah.
mask here. I'm telling you, this opens everywhere I go. I love the mask idea. I do not mind it at all because everyone asks me, what's your sign? I'm in Kroger's and they're asking me this. And I start talking to them about, asking them if they, are they interested in buying a house? And they say yes or no. I ask them if they're looking to sell a house or if they know anyone. And I just start talking to them. So it really does some good.
Maureen, shoot back one slide. I'm just going to cruise through it like really fast. So unemployment offices park a truck across the street from them with a sign that says you buy houses for cash. Get magnetic signs and put on the side of your car that you buy houses for cash. If you don't want to do that, get your contractors to do it. Pay them to put the signs up. Park benches. I actually built some park benches and dropped them out on a corner as a public service. And put a sign on it says I buy houses for cash. Auctions, you can go there. Todd could talk a long time on auctions. I don't know if we got the time for it. We'll come back to it if we do. Gets a lot of leads and a lot of great deals from there. If you find out who the person is that on demolition list, you need to be an experienced investor before you do that. Code enforcers can tell you where the deals are. Mortgage brokers, people are going to them when they're in trouble. Expired listings, and the MLS is a great place. BizBos for sale by owners. Email broadcast, I do a lot of that. Tax sales, another one, sheriff sales. People in jail are motivated. If you find somebody that's there, you can strike a deal with them. Pawn shop, because people are going there that are already in trouble. So real estate.
Retirement home as well.
Pardon?
Retirement home.
Retirement home. Yep. Well, heck, let's just go to the funeral home. They've got people that are motivated too. So, yeah.
You can,
People
your
are dying to get out of their houses.
if you do have contractors that work for you you could get them jackets, you could get them shirts, you could get them all kinds of things that they, if you make it nice, they'll actually wear it. You could put something on their car maybe if they let you. If you see, I know a couple of homeless people. I've been seeing them for the last 15 years. I've always thought about getting them some nice winter jackets that say TC buys houses and things like that. I just haven't done it yet, but.
Okay, we're ready to move forward. So how to negotiate a deal. So I'm going to let you speak, Todd. Do you want me to flip it forward to?
Well, you pull out your Glock 26. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's flip it one more. So we're going to give you this script. We're going to give you this PowerPoint, so you don't have to write anything down. The script is so easy. Everyone tries to complicate it. You just tell them who you are. You're nice. If a lady answers the phone, a man, you say, hey, sir, how you doing? My name's Todd. I was calling regarding your property on Banana Street, and we're looking to buy another property in the next, one or two properties in the next 30 to 60 days. I was just reaching out to see if you're in the market for a fair all-cash offer for your property. Okay. And you hear me stutter. You hear me. I don't sound like I'm a robot. I just pick up the phone. Someone answers. Oh, hey, ma'am, how you doing? My name's Todd. I'm calling regarding your property on Burt Road Street, and we're looking to buy another 1 or 2 properties by the end of the year. Just reaching out to see if you're in the market for a fair cash offer. That's it. I mean, that's it. Really, guys, it's that simple. And you see, when they answer the phone, if I said, oh, hey, sir, how you doing? And then I wait for their answer, right then and there, they're going to say, who's this? Why are you calling me? They don't know you. So you don't pause. You just keep rolling. Oh, hey, hi, sir. How you doing? My name's Todd. I was calling regarding your property on Burt Road. I'm a real estate investor, and we're looking, even during COVID, we're still buying, and we're looking to buy another 1 or 2 properties before the end of the year. I was just reaching out to see if you would consider an offer on your property.
Not right now, Todd.
What's that?
Not right now. No, I don't want to sell.
Okay, well, maybe not now, but I would say, are you looking to sell in the next 30 to 3 to 6 months?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, would it be okay if I followed up with you in another 6 months to see how you're doing?
Sure.
Great. And one last thing before I let you go, do you know anyone that might lost their job? A lot of people lost their job because of COVID, and they might be in some financial problems, or they might need to sell their house, or they're behind on their mortgage. We help people in all kinds of situations. Do you know any friends or family that might be in that type of situation?
Yeah, one of my neighbors is in foreclosure right now, so they
Okay.
would be.
Well, I specialize in those type of, helping people out like that. And also, if I'm able to help them out, I'm going to do something real nice for you. Okay. I promise you that. And then I'll get their name and phone number from them.
Yeah,
And
it's
reach
good.
out. So,
Okay.
there's a stretched version of my lead sheet. It's kind of stretched, but in the boxes there, it's just easy to look at: brick house, frame house. A lot of the stuff you could get off of Zillow. You ask them how many bedrooms, and this is just to get them talking about the house. Okay. And then underneath there, it says there's some questions. Well, the 4 things that you're really looking to qualify a lead. This is very important. Just because someone says they want to sell their house, then you don't just go make an appointment and go out to look at the house. Okay. So you got to ask them you got to not ask them, but you got to get at least 3 out of the 4, okay, out before you make a lead. Like, so we call it items to try and get when pre-qualifying a lead. Number 1, the condition of the property. That's pretty easy to get. You ask them about the property, the condition, how many, what repairs have you done in the last 5 years, things like that. Is there anything wrong with the house that I should be aware of? This and that. Okay. Number 2, their motivation to sell. Are they motivated? Are they looking to sell? Like Mark said, no. They're 6 months from now. If they're not motivated between now and 60 days, you're not going to get it. It's not worth it, right? And their timeline to sell, or their ability to sell, so are they, that's pretty much the motivation, I guess, to sell is not what I just said before. I'm sorry. That's the timeline to sell. If they're looking to, in the next 30 to 60 days, something like that. The motivation to sell is more, why do they want to sell? Lost a job, divorce, could be a number of reasons and situations. And then the number 1 factor is the price. Okay. So you got to get a price out of them. Whoever says the price first, if I tell them what I'm going to give them for the house first, I lose. Okay. So you got to get that price out of them first. And if you got to try 7, 8 different ways, 8 different times, the price. I would not run an appointment if I don't know what price they want to sell that house for. Okay. Because you're going to go there and they're going to say some crazy number and you just wasted your time. So there's a lot of different tricks or to the trade on how to get that price out of them. And 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 I watch enough other podcasts and listen to a lot of people really experienced in wholesaling. And one I just recently was listening to that's a great idea. And you can always back away and just tell the seller, you say, you know, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to be a buyer for you. You kind of pull back, tell them you're not going to be a buyer, but you know, let me take off my buyer's hat and let's just talk and let me try to give you advice. Like if you're my, you know, my sister or you're my mother, I'll give you some good advice. And then you're talking to them and say, well, what, you know, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to sell your property, you know, with a realtor? And, you know, you might have to put some money into the house, and you start talking to them like that. And they start talking, no, I don't want to do that. And then just throw in, so what price are you looking to get? Just ask them again and they'll tell you, you know. So there's a lot of different ways of trying to get that price out of them, but it's very important. And lastly, if they don't give you a price, well, she said, what's your price? Well, I know the area really well. I actually had a house over there on Bringard, which is a couple blocks away, and we're buying properties in that neighborhood. And I'm going to give them such a low number where they're going to get pissed off at me. I said, the last one I just bought, I kid you not, I paid like $5,000 for it. And they're going to yell at you. And you say, well, and you can say it in a jokingly manner. You can say, would you consider $5,000? And just see what they say. And I knew you wouldn't consider that. I was just saying that. So, you know, and then you just keep trying to get their number out of them.
That's good.
All right.
So
Can
you got the lead. So you want to kind of talk about what you do, setting it up and walk through.
Yeah, this was a slide from, it says a 10 Saturdays workshop, but we had a workshop that's actually, it's on your YouTube channel, right, Mark?
It is. Yeah, that's why you're going to get this entire workshop that we did all day long on working
Yeah, it's really good, for sure.
how to do it. So I'm going to send you a bunch of links to the videos. I'll get Maureen to flip over to the YouTube channel just to give you an idea.
Yep. Yeah. So
And by the way, Todd's got one of the best videos on how to have your purchase agreement right on a laptop and get it signed right on the spot. And it's incredible. So he does that. We actually role play on that. You'll like it. So.
yeah, I do. I use an iPencil or your iPen or whatever they call it, and they love it. They just sign it. I go over it with them, like the important things, and then, you know, everything they need to know about it, and they sign it, you know. Because if you say, well, I'm going to have my office send you a purchase agreement, you can e-sign it, you're going to be chasing them, you know, you're going to be chasing them for another 2 or 3 days. So
if you got a hot deal on a real estate deal, you got to get it quickly and get it signed.
Yeah, you got to get it signed, because right as you walk out the door, someone else is going to call them, and they already know what number you're going to pay. They're going to say, well, if you could pay, you know, whatever, a few grand more, you got it. And they're going to take it. I do it all the time to people. So, so once you get a deal or a lead, then what I do is I go on the MLS. You got to be a realtor. You got to have access to the MLS. And I look at the public records. And in the public records, it'll tell you, it'll give you like their name, who owns it. All right, so I kind of look at that. Sometimes they'll tell you when the last deed was and how much it was, or if they had a mortgage, how much the mortgage was and when they bought it. And so you can kind of see if they're telling you the truth on the ownership and how much is owed. And they also have on MLS in a certain area, it'll tell you what they should owe on the property now and what their interest rate was and things like that. So I kind of get that information and what they paid for it and who they bought it from, all that good stuff. And then I know what the taxes are per year. And then I'll go on the search and see if they owe any back property taxes. That's always good to know. And so when you go to the house, you know, it's good to have all that information, because if you're buying a house for 20 grand and you don't talk about the back taxes, it's going to blow up in your face at closing when you try to take out all the back taxes and water. Now they're walking away with 6 grand in their pocket. In their mind, they're getting 20. So you got to go over this stuff with them, and let them know who's paying the closing costs. Usually I'll get it under contract, and that's how I get it under contract, is I throw in, you know, don't worry, we're going to pay the closing costs. The only thing that's going to come out of your money is if you have any liens on the property, which you told me you didn't, so that's good. And if you owe any taxes, you told me you didn't owe any taxes. And if there's any water bill, oh, the water's paid. Well, if that's the case, then you're going to get $20,000. But sometimes there might be, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I'll do one other thing you want to do is you want to go on Zillow and Redfin. You want to just Google the address and see what they say the house is worth. Even though that doesn't mean what it's worth, but that's what they think it's worth. Okay. I bought many houses where a house is worth 100,000, but Zillow says it's worth 60,000. And that's what their starting point is, $60,000. That's why they got to say that price first. Okay. And then there's other times where it's the opposite. Zillow says it's worth 100 when it's only worth 60. So that's a whole different conversation with the seller. But definitely look and see, because that's how they see it. They see what Zillow says, or they see what their neighbors sold their house 5 years ago for, which doesn't mean anything. You know, you got to educate them nicely about how the real estate game works, about comparables in the last 6 months and things like that. And then if you know their motivation, and if they're don't wanters and they just want to get rid of it, you don't even have those conversations. They're going to give you a price, and it's going to be fair, and then you're going to try to get it for a little bit less, and everyone's going to be happy. Okay. But there's a way on Real Comp, you could check what's going on in the neighborhood. You could do quick comparables of, I only know how to use Real Comp to do my comparables, but I think some other free or other type of apps like PropStream might have a way to do the comps and things like that, and some other ones. And, you know, but Real Comp's the most accurate. You know, they're 100% accurate. That's what appraisers use, and that's what everyone uses. But yeah, that's what I do before I go to the house. And then if you try to get to the appointment 10 minutes early, so you could go around the neighborhood and see what's going on. You might see some for sale signs. You could even do some little bit of driving for dollars for later, and you get some good addresses and get those names and numbers later. So,
Yeah.
yep.
No, that's excellent. So when you're just driving for dollars, the outward appearance is real key. And you know, when the market shifts and there's a big demand, you get a lot more leads. So you're doing drive-bys. So now when you're doing the drive-by, if the house has got deferred maintenance, like the roof's bad or the gutters or there's weeds or the outward appearance is really rough, then you pretty much can be guaranteed that the inside of the house has major deferred maintenance too and looks very similar. By one that's crystal clean, and they're already telling you they want 10,000, and you know your comps are at 30, then you know you got a home run, you want to jump on it. So the outward appearance of a house tells you a lot about what the inward appearance is about.
And Mark, I think it was really true 15 years ago. If you had a solid outside of the house, and the inside was going to be pretty solid also. But man, you could get fooled nowadays. You got to, I think you used to buy a lot of houses just by looking at the outside, didn't you, Mark?
I would do them, and then I'd call my investors up if it was a hot deal. I could actually send the investor there and state my money and move on. But that was a different era, different time. So
yeah, now it's not the same. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes it's definitely not, the outside might be in good shape and the inside is just, unless it's